We have thousands of people who go missing every year just here in the United States, and there's no discrimination on the missing. They are young, old, black, white, male or female, even children. It's time to stop. Here at Coles is still missing, and they've not found any new clues. It's women who are pregnant, it's women who have jobs, and it's women who have not seen even fetal abductions. Have you seen me? Welcome to my channel, everyone. Thank you so much for caring.
Hello guys, welcome to Chasing the Murder Talking News. I want to ask you first, please subscribe, hit that like button, and hit the notification bell if you'd like notifications. So today we had the hearing for prosecuting attorney in the Lori Vallow case for Rob Wood. Now guys, I want to stress to you guys, I am working on videos. It's taking a lot of work and research to put it together. Once it gets together, they'll be up. I really truly do a lot of research. So today I was able to catch most of this hearing. And let me tell you, I was not very impressed with this witness, James Davidson. And I'll tell you why. But first, let's get to know who he is. So James is a licensed psychologist, and he has titles that go pretty much a mile long. And he was very excited to share just how great and successful he is. He's also very confident that he's very thorough in his research. And he knows exactly what he's doing. But I have to say, he really just seemed like a walking bag of BS to me. And that's my opinion. Also, in my opinion, this man was nothing more than a paid witness at this hearing. He doesn't know this case. He knows of this case, but he doesn't know this case. He doesn't know of the witnesses. He doesn't know of the defense attorneys, the ones that hired him, much less the prosecutor, Rob Wood. And so Mr. Means, who has on several occasions went after many law officials attached to this case, including Judge Eddings, allegedly sent James the transcript that put Rob Wood in this predicament in the first place. But what was quite interesting is the fact that Rob's attorney, and I'm sorry guys because I had to put this together so quick because they just closed out. Can't remember the name of his attorney. I want to say Trey or Troy. Anyways, pointing out the fact that he had actually studied the transcript that wasn't the official transcript that each and every one of them had, which makes more sense when you think back to what Rob Wood was saying about bits and pieces, that it seemed that the defense was kind of nitpicking pieces that they wanted and manipulating a bit. Well, Mr. Means act like this was something he was surprised about. But Rob Wood was well prepared and knew exactly that this, well, allegedly and possibly, that this transcript that this guy received was not the correct transcript, or they were talking about something else. When Rob Wood's attorney addressed this issue, you could see where Dr. James Davidson was kind of getting a little, antsy in a seat. And he was a bit fidgety and was kind of leaning towards changing his mind until the defense attorney for Chad Daybell started speaking up prior and kind of leading the witness on through the disguise of asking questions. And that's, my opinion, that's how I see it because, in my opinion, Pryor is a master manipulator and is able to lead the witnesses in front of everybody. And in a way that makes you wonder, how does he get away with it? And that's kind of what Rob Wood is sitting in that hot seat right now for, is them accusing him of coaxing a witness. So it was a long, long, long time of listening to this paid expert witness, Mr. Davison, give his paid performance, in my opinion, on a case he really knows nothing about. He even accuses Rob Wood by speculating his professional opinion of what Rob Wood was telling the witness, Lori Vallow's sister, Summer Shiflett. And he even speculated what Summer was feeling and probably thinking in her head. His expert testimony is that Rob Wood it was misconduct, and that he was really acting out of complete character that's expected of a professional attorney. During this hearing, both defense attorneys for the Chad and Lori Daybell case are now kind of working with this paid witness, Dr. Davison, trying to get him to kind of say or actually give the axe to prosecuting attorney Rob Wood by backing him in the corner and saying that he shouldn't be on this case. While they could get this guy to say, yeah, he's really acting out of, ethical standards. This is something he probably shouldn't have done, and that he was working within inner circles attached to a religion. He was also, walking that line of misconduct and something that he's never seen before, but would not go to the point of saying, yeah, I would process this in a way to where you wouldn't have Rob Wood representing the state on this case any longer. Now, it was very interesting that this guy seemed to be very sure of his analysis of this transcript and the people involved, that is Rob Wood and Summer Shiflett. He accuses Rob Wood of bringing up the LDS subject and insinuates that he does this in order to make an inner circle connection, which I found to be profoundly gutsy. Now, one thing that I've learned through this case is a lot about the Mormons and how they act within their communities and how they address themselves. And they oftentimes address themselves and attach themselves as whatever affiliation, for example, let's say LDS, that they're attached to that. This is something that's very common within their community, and it's just the way they are. I mean, I've had them even comment me and say, hi, I'm an LDS member and I agree or don't agree, blah, 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 blah. It's the way of life for these areas that are prominent with the Mormon population. So I felt that he was reaching a bit there. I think that's just how they connect with one another on an everyday basis. I don't think this had anything to do with making a special connection for that day. However, that being said, they do live in that world where they do like to connect with one another by announcing, how they're affiliated through the Mormon church. But this isn't, a lot of times it isn't in a dark way. It's just a way to say, look, I feel comfortable. This is my environment. But also, they do use it in a way to manipulate powers of some sort sometimes. But my point of the matter here is I do not believe that Rob Wood, for a minute, was acting in the way that Dr. Davidson said that he was. So I'm telling you, they spent a lot of time attacking Rob Wood and Summer Shiflett in their connection to the Mormon religion, and saying that Rob Wood was using that as a way to manipulate this case in some way, but without any proof whatsoever. And this continued for over an hour. It really did, and it was just hard to sit there and watch a stranger come into this case that knows nothing about any of these people, make his analysis and accusations and speculations over and over again. Even worse, watching Pryor walk that path with Mark Means, who has more than once tried to take down a law official for no reason whatsoever. Judge Edens is one of those examples where Lori Vallow and Mark Means attacked him. They had no reason listed as to why they did that. I still don't know why till this day. And you could tell that Judge Edens was aggravated by that, and he ended up just saying, look, I'll just step back. And he did that. Mark Means is probably the most dirty attorney that I've witnessed personally since I started this channel. He loves to attack everything that has nothing to do with the case whatsoever in reality. I mean, he's just constantly, it's just like pulling a chair out from underneath everybody surrounding that is against his client. And in my opinion, that tweet that he tweeted was probably one of the most, well, it raised several flags for me. I mean, I could not believe that he tweeted what he did. If you do not know about that tweet, then you check out my older videos. But I took that tweet as a threat, a way to reach out to people involved with Lori, Chad Daybell, and send a message of saying, you better be careful what you say and how you say it. It has a picture of rats running. What are they running away from? So what is that representing? Are they running away from danger? Are they running away from Lori? What was he trying to say, and with that image? I have a few ideas what he's saying with that image, but I'm going to save that for later. Usually I don't get this deep into personal details or personal feelings of a case, but this Lori Vallow case is a complete wreck. It really is, and there's so many things going on here that should really make everybody open their eyes and ask, what's going on here, and then want to find out why these things are happening, and even repair and prevent things like this from happening in the future, because it's really put obstacles in the way of the justice of many people who have perished involved with this case. And I'm very surprised that Pryor, I'm not saying that I think he's the greatest guy on earth, but I am shocked that he would do anything that Mark Means would be leading. Now, we all know that Mark Means might be a little bit butthurt by some things that Rob said, which was directed at Means. But a lot of people didn't take that as a way to to say Mark Means is not a good attorney, but we believe that Rob Wood was saying, looking out for Lori's best interest and representation, if I can spit that out, that she has the proper justice. That's, Rob Wood has constantly looked out for this case the entire time that he's been involved. But I believe that Rob Wood will remain. I don't think that he's going to be taken off this case. They haven't proven anything in my eyes, and many other people who have also watched Rob Wood during this whole process. There doesn't seem to be anything there that they can actually pull him off the case for. So later that day, I'm referring to Pryor and Means, brought in another witness, which I called a promotional paid witness, who was advertising his books that he wrote and things like that. Now, he seemed quite knowledgeable, but he wasn't knowledgeable about this case. He didn't know this case in a way that a lot of us do, and he's not personally been researching each and every person involved. That was very obvious. But Rob Wood sat there and he listened to all these, horrible things being pushed about him. And not once did he show any kind of concerning gestures. He wasn't acting out in any way. He was very respectful, like he's always been, very professional, and he let his attorney take the reins. I don't know if I could have done that, because we were sitting there having to listen to the defense attorneys for Lori and Chad really pushing as hard as they could. And I mean, they pushed. They even tried to trick them into saying things that could damn Rob Wood. And through my research, I've kept up with this, and what this seems to be about is not, whether or not Rob Wood is an attorney that's not up to par. This is about Means being butthurt and taking this personally and doing whatever he can to cause chaos, which is something, Lori Vallow has done. Now, we hear that Rob Wood, we hear a conversation through a recording through this Zoom hearing that kind of shocked me. And he believes that Lori Vallow was this great person until suddenly. And I have to say that after, all the research that I've done, that Lori Vallow was never a great person. She has a history of drama throughout her entire life, and that's been hidden. Every relationship that she's ever been in has ended in that drama, and it's been ugly. We know this. We know because we heard her say on an audio just recently that she wanted to murder Joseph Ryan. And before that, we know that Alex Cox, and she was there when it happened, was attacked with a taser gun. And before Joseph Ryan, which a lot of people don't know about, there has been major drama with Kobe Ryan's father, which I'll go over one day here soon, because it's really shocking to see, the mindset and how Lori's brain ticks. So Lori has always been very involved with her religion. A lot of people suspected that this had nothing to do with religion, and I really never ever thought that. This is definitely, she has always been religious. She's always wanted to be a religious leader. And a lot of people are saying that Chad Daybell is the mind leader of this new direction that Lori took. But my opinion is this at this time, on the information I know at this moment, and it's based on that Lori Vallow was always capable of doing these things. She was always had struggles mentally, and that when she met Chad Daybell, all that was the extra fuel she needed in order to take off. So, hearing that audio where Rob Wood believes that Lori Vallow is just this innocent angel and then suddenly turns into this monster it's not truth. That's the only thing I can tell you, and I'm sure he's learned that by now. But that was interesting to see how a lot of people felt like Lori was this great person, and then suddenly she turned into a monster. Monsters don't just come out of nowhere. They're there. They're just hidden. And so what a lot of people don't realize is Lori Vallow doesn't realize that she's even a monster, because in her heart, she believes that she's really a good person. She's an angel. She is of, very high standards in God's eyes. So much so that God sees her as a prophet. And her brother was a protecting angel for that prophet. While we're hearing that Chad Daybell believed that he was the prophet, well, there's a lot of evidence that's coming out later that is suggesting otherwise, or there might have been two prophets walking together. So back to the point, Lori Vallow believes that she is the light of wholesome good and all that represents God of heaven. And so a lot of people can't understand why she is able to smile, although her two children are no longer walking this earth. And I can tell you why. And this is my idea, my opinion. I believe, and this could change, but based on what we know right now, it seems that Lori really feared the end times. She really believed those end times were here. She also believed, and we're not certain, where this originated from, that the children were zombies, that their souls were no longer in their body, that they have left the body for some reason and had now been taken over by either demons or dark spirits. And so Lori Vallow's looking at those children as she sees the body, but in the soul, the inside of her children, there's something else in there controlling them. And this is an imposter. These are not her children. And so a lot of people are trying to figure out, is this a mental condition or is this a religious belief? And I have to say, I think it's a little of both. So to her, she was saving her children in some way. And I haven't finished researching this. I'm still doing that to understand how the kids were put in the ground at Chad Daybell's property, why they were done the way that they were. And I think, we've kind of figured out a possible idea of why they did what they did to the children, but still working on that to make a solid, find solid answers on that. So Lori Vallow seems to love her children. If you think about it like that, she thinks that she's saving them in some way. But also, if you reflect back to when Charles Vallow is talking to the police between January and February, and he states that his wife is acting out, she's gone off on the deep end, she's not acting like herself. That really says a lot, because Charles Vallow probably seen a side of Lori that he accepted that he would never admit to people, including his sister Kay, because there was a lot of drama going on with Joseph Ryan while Charles was with Lori. During that interview with cops, Charles mentions that Lori Vallow was not interested in her children anymore, that she said she didn't care. Does that, fall back to the fact that the kids have been possessed by dark spirits or demons? That's an interesting question that still needs to be answered, but I feel has been answered in some aspects of it. So you have all these strange people sitting in a hearing discussing what, that Rob Wood, which I still sometimes wonder about Rob Wood myself, if he is the right person to prosecute this case. That's hard to answer because Rob Wood is very good at, keeping his mouth shut, except for certain people like Summer, obviously. He definitely hasn't leaked anything to the media. Now, some of these witnesses that are, speaking for Means and Pryor, such as Davison, suggest that Rob Wood is actually going to be looking out for Lori Vallow and focusing on taking down Chad Daybell. Well, that doesn't make sense completely, but it's kind of concerning. And I'm sure that's what Rob Wood was trying to prevent from getting out to, the public. Because that would raise a few flags for all of us once we hear that. Is there a plea deal in the works or in the, at least on the table for the future, for future charges? Now, we all know that supposedly that there are conspiracy to murder charges in the works, but we're not certain where those charges are going to be attached. Is it going to be attached to Charles Vallow, the children, even Joseph Ryan? And one that we're all concerned about is, I know I am, is Tammy Daybell. And for those of you that are not, that you don't understand the religion, they believe that when they die, they continue to live on in some form or another. Out of all the people that have perished in this case, minus Joseph Ryan, they are living on as if, nothing ever happened in some reality of living. Whereas, Joseph Ryan, Joe Ryan, he's been sealed. Haven't had time to finish researching what exactly Chad Daybell meant by Joseph Ryan being sealed after death. If someone here has done that research, you can pop it in the comments below and I will read them. And guys, I've went on forever for this. I didn't mean to go this long with this. It was just supposed to cover the hearing. But in the end, the prosecuting attorney, Rob Wood's attorney, Troy, says, we'll do a briefing right now, get this over with, which seems like maybe they're not really that concerned about it. It seems that they're pretty confident that Rob Wood didn't do anything that requires that he be taken off the case. And you could see where Mark Means, at the beginning of this hearing, didn't say much of nothing. And then at the end, attempted to be an attorney with a mission. And his mission was to get rid of Rob Wood. And to me, this was just a bunch of baloney that shouldn't have never happened in the first place, that distracts the justice of this case, which is has to do with two children that are no longer here who are innocent. They deserve to have the spotlight on them and, a track laid out to justice that people continue to follow until finally you reach that point of justice, as well as several others like Charles Vallow and Tammy Daybell and possibly Joseph Ryan. It really was, in my opinion, a circus, a charade, and it just really was a distraction from where we should be focused. I really was shocked that that man, Dr. James Davison, I don't know him personally, But watching him sit there, talk about a case against a man that's trying to bring justice, knowing that he didn't do anything incredibly wrong, just really helped distract from the justice. It really got to me. And I'm not a fan of these paid witnesses, is what I call them. They're paid witnesses. They're paid to give their expertise on something that he says that he did his research on, but happened to do an entire report on a transcript that he didn't even have all the pieces to. So obviously, he didn't do his homework that well. And I'll throw up some pieces here to where you can see he has a website and everything. He works with a group of, other people. I'm not going to give them the credit. And I was very, very shocked that this is even happening and continued to happen for hours. Now, according to, at the end of this hearing, they said that they will continue the closing arguments tomorrow, Friday. That's January 7th of 2021, for those of you watching this in the future. I guess tomorrow we will definitely find out, what the judge decides, whether or not to keep Rob Wood as the prosecutor on this case. All right, guys, I want you to take a look at these pictures. Take a close look. These girls are still missing. And I also want to announce that one of the ladies that we were searching for, Laura Wolf, was unfortunately found deceased. Someone harvesting, farming on their property, found her remains on that property. Devastating ending, but at least they got some kind of answers because it led to an arrest and hopefully will lead to justice. Sending my love out to Amber. I'm so sorry, honey. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.